Welcome everybody to Standard ban leaks, and of course, as always with the leaks, enjoy these leaks with care. Until the 29th nothing is official, and on 29th of May we're gonna definitely cover the official bans and restriction announcement for Standard on this channel. So if you don't want to miss out on them, consider to follow my channel. Otherwise, let's go straight to the bans, because I think they are really exciting and really interesting to see if they are gonna be official and inform how we gonna see it in the leaks. I don't know, but I think they are looking really legit. And the first card is gonna see the ban hammer is our wedding announcement. I think wedding announcement is a really powerful 3-drop in a lot of white considered build, also in Esper Legends. But we are not gonna talk so much about the single cards. We're gonna go next into another amazing ban, and I think it's something that is really necessary because it has a little to non counterplay in Standard, and this is our Wandering Emperor. Yes, the 4-drop with flash is finally get removed, and this opens up, I think, a lot of possibilities for aggro deck, but we're gonna cover it a little bit later because our third leak is Invoke Despair. I think a lot of people were waiting for it. Me personally, this is my most hated card because you know exactly turn 5 it's coming. Even if it's turn 4 assured or not, you know turn 5 is gonna hit you really hard, and this satisfies me really much to see this card on a leaked ban list. But I also think this card is definitely gonna see a ban or suspension hammer, because this card is just too powerful for what it does and what they try to do with draining, damaging your opponent, gaining card advantage, and removing the board state or controlling the board state is just too much for a 5-drop. And then all-time favorite, began as a jank. You remember maybe when Kamigawa was released, I made a lot of jank decks with Fable of the Mirror Breaker or my Cheeky Bricky, the 3-mana red drop that is almost now currently in every single deck that contains red, or they splash red only for this card. And this also should have seen a ban hammer, or will maybe see a ban hammer in the following week. But I'm definitely interested to see how it turns out, because I think Fable of the Mirror Breaker enables a lot of decks, and how will this deck perform without it, I'm not sure about that. And then to a league that is really interesting, but I think it's also in a direction where the Wizard of the Coast maybe the first time consider to thinking a little bit further, because if they're gonna ban all these meta decks, there will be new meta decks rising, because there is always like this tier 1.5 decks, tier 2 decks that are really powerful but are getting stopped by the meta decks, by Grixis for example. And this is the Raffine Shimmering Seer. Is definitely a really powerful and a really important card in Esper Legends, but also in general Esper midrange. We saw it in combination with Waiting Announcement and also get banned, really shining, getting your card selection, card advantage, and also other synergies with Graveyard, drawing and discarding cards with our Shieldred for example. So Raffine also should be banned, but I think this is a really good choice to just thinking a little bit further, to think a little bit more advanced, as this is a 3-drop that has potential to break a lot of decks. And then another one, a fresh card that we got not long ago, is our Atraxa Grand Unifier. Yes, the Phyrexian Angel gets banned because it just enables so much synergies, not only in Rakdos reanimation deck where they try to go to turn 5 and reanimate Atraxa to get a body on the board and also refills instantly their hand, but also I think these 5-color Ram decks are taking over slowly. And if Atraxa will not be banned with the other bans that we already saw, or the leaks of the bans that we already saw, I think Atraxa will be a top tier deck, if it's not currently already is. But in the 5-color Ram deck with Atraxa and Italy in it, I think it will be almost impossible to stop them. You need to build a specific counter deck to counter their enter the battlefield abilities from Atraxa, from Italy, and from the Sagas and battles that are entering the battlefield to gain the ramp, to gain the card advantage. And then a card I think a lot of people are mad about to be banned, or not really caring, or don't really see how much impact this card has, but this is a Reckoning Bankbuster, the 2-mana artifact that draws you card, create a body, and can crew with the body itself. So it can be on itself a win condition for some control decks, but also for the mid-range card advantage, free blocker, free attacker, and so on. Is a really powerful drop, and I think it should be banned. It could be banned because this card is just too powerful for what it does. If it would cost maybe 3 mana, I would understand it, and it will be reasonable, because then it will be more fair to play against it, because aggro had a little bit more chance. But otherwise, to having a 2-drop and on a 3-drop to having a lot of interactions, but also card draw available, just in case if you need it, is I think a really powerful play that should not be possible in Standard. And then last card that I think is maybe a mistake, but let's see if it's gonna turn out to be true, is Plaza of Heroes. Yes, our legendary land that enables a lot of legendary synergies getting banned, and I think this is not the right ban for me personally, because I think with the bans that we already see, if the bans are true, Plaza of Heroes would enable a lot of interesting builds. For example, Abzan Legends with the new Talia is really interesting deck, and a lot of other Mardu Legends maybe also in these directions. I think Plaza of Heroes will just help other combo decks, other mid-range decks to be viable, because the mana base in Standard is always difficult. You know, we don't have a lot of duels, we don't have a lot of possibilities to go in Abzan, in Mardu, for example, although I think Mardu has a pretty stable mana base, but painful mana base for a lot. This is why you see maybe they're running a lot of this 4 mana angel that gets lifelink and can be kicked for lifelink. It's mostly because of the mana base being so painful in these colors. I think banning here in the Plaza of Heroes is maybe not the right choice, but we're gonna see. Maybe we're gonna see with the new expansion in September some interesting land base. I hope so, because I'm a big sucker for Mardu. I like to play Mardu Sacrifice or Mardu Aristocrats, and if Mardu gets some duels or Mardu gets some triumphs maybe even, it will be definitely really helpful. But otherwise, those are the 8 bans that are getting leaked, and what do I think about them? They are really good. They are really good. And finally, you see maybe on my channel, I haven't posted a video since I think 5 days now, because I'm getting tired. I play still every day. I play a lot with Rocco. I like Rocco really much from Aftermath, because it's just Naya is a cool color combination, and I think Rocco is the first card in Naya colorations that really allow us to do a lot of things that Naya should do, creating tokens, putting counters, gaining life, and I experiment a lot with Rocco, but every single game I'm playing is against Shragdos or Grixis or against Mono Black, with a really good curve, and the win rate is for me not really important now. I'm not trying to grind or anything, I'm trying to have fun, but in 4 out of 5 games I'm not having the fun, because I know exactly what my opponent is gonna do next, because the cards are already so long in Standard, and because the meta is so established, people are just net decking the decks and playing it. But I'm definitely excited for this deck. It makes me want to build more, and I want to see in what direction we're gonna go, because these bans are really impactful on the tier 1 decks, and I'm gonna talk about this a little bit now. That you saw all the leaks, and people who just came here for the leaks already left. I think these bans enable some aggro strategies that we can fight against. For example, you see maybe soldiers didn't got any nerf, Talia is not banned, any other soldier is really affected by the bans. Plaza of Heroes is not interesting for them, wedding announcement is not interesting, so soldiers just got stronger, because things like Wandering Emperor were always really painful for soldiers, because you exile their creatures and they have some graveyard synergies with it. I think also Mono Red will see a lot of more plays, but this enables me to play one of my favorite colors. It's Mono Black, of course. Mono Black or Orzhov, I like it, and I think this enables it because Path of Peril is still a card, you know, maybe 3 mana, sweep all the minis, and for 6 mana, sweep all the board. I think Path of Peril will definitely see play in this constellation. Also, enchantment players, they got new additions from Aftermath with Kali. I faced some of these decks, mostly I won, but usually if you cannot control Calyx by turn 4, turn 5, then it's a GG for you, and I think enchantments, mono red and soldiers will be on the rise. But what all of these decks have in common, they have a lot of 1 and 2 drops that they are relying on, and this is why I think Path of Peril will shine against this sort of decks, and I think it will be a main deck for me in almost any deck that contains black, at least 2 copies of, and maybe even splashing white for just a hard removal on it. But definitely get ready for these more aggressive decks, because Sheoldred still didn't get banned, and I think it's okay, because with all the other bans available here, Sheoldred don't need to have ban. We need to have some sort of answers for aggro decks, and Sheoldred is a killer for aggro decks. If they cannot remove it, Sheoldred take over the game on itself. Yes, we are losing maybe something like Bankbuster for the Sheoldred. This is why I think Sheoldred will be now a fair card. Then without Bankbuster, even if they they try to remove Sheldred now, they can do it. So before it was the way that you can crew the Bankbuster with Sheldred and block maybe some mono red players who were expecting you to block with Sheldred, so they can lightning strike it or bolt it or whatever they have in the hand, or strangle. So this is why I think Sheldred will become a really fair card, and both of the Sheldreds are in the standard. I like mono black double Sheldred really much. I didn't show it a lot of the video, but I think the next few videos you're gonna see gonna be with the both of the Sheldreds, because I like them. I like mono black, I like both Sheldreds. I think fair mono black deck is a really fun and entertaining deck to play, but also to grind, and in general the play pattern are just much more different. But with all these bans announcement, I would like to know, what do you think about them? Do you think they are true? Do you think they are fake? Do you think Wizards try to see how we react to this leak so they can announce on 29 maybe something different? I saw this discussion that maybe Wizards of the Coast made this leak to see how people gonna react to it. I don't believe personally, because I've worked for a lot of big companies and they will not invest resources and money into something like this. I think this leak is legit for my experience, because this looks like a mini rotation, right? We don't get our rotation this year, so we need to wait until the next year. And because of these bans, it looks like 8 cards. This is 24 wild cards, my friends, 24 wild cards. And here I want to say something for people: wait until the 29th when the official ban and announcement happening, and then craft all of them. Because if you're a standard player or not, doesn't matter. When you craft all these cards and they get banned, you will get received the wild cards back, but the cards stay playable and stay available in Historic, Explorer and other formats that are available on Arena. This is why there is no downside to crafting these cards with your wild cards and receiving the wild cards back, because then you have 4 copies of Atraxa. So be it, you will receive 4 mythic rares back, and Atraxa is still playable in Historic, in Brawl, in Commander, whatever modes will come maybe in the future, you will still be enjoying it, because those are only the standard bans. Don't forget about it. So this is very important. Wait until the 29th, see what are the official bans are, then craft all these cards, and then you will receive the cards back, but you still will be able to use these cards, or receive the wild cards back, and you will be able to use these cards in your Historic deck or your Explorer deck, for example, but still having the wild cards available. And this is it so far for the leaks. Let me know, what do you think about these leaks? Are you excited? Are you interested to play Standard again after the bans would happening? What if the leaks would look like this? Or are you maybe somebody who don't even care about the bans and just enjoying the game as it is right now? But I would honestly like to hear your opinion on it, and also in what direction you would see Standard evolving. On this spot, thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in the next one. Ciao!